Hello, this is Mr. Jarrett, and in this video tutorial, we are going to be 3D modeling this object in SOLIDWORKS. So the two things you really have to take notice of first, where is the origin, and what are the units? The units are an IPS, origin is kind of right in the center of this circle. This arc itself is also built off of that origin, and you can kind of see this little circle over here, which probably gets trimmed has a distance away and everything. So everything basically gets built to the right of the origin for this one. Okay, so I'm going to pull this to my other screen, and in SOLIDWORKS itself, you want to start a new part. Make sure your units are in IPS. Mine is defaulted to that, so you can see it's IPS down here. And we are going to be sketching on the front plane. I'll start out by getting the circle tool and draw two circles off of my origin. And then I'll zoom out a little bit and I'll draw a third circle just kind of hanging out over here somewhere. We'll come back to that one later on. So now I can dimension this. So this inside circle is 1.25. Green check. And I can't dimension this outside one yet because we have to trim it. Okay, so I'll get my line tool and I'm just going to kind of click up here where this yellow dot is, because that will also make it tangent, and I'm just going to drag that somewhere over to here. And I'll hit escape, get my line tool again, and I'll do that at the bottom. So make sure you're on that yellow dot. Just bring it over to here. Now with my line tool, I can actually click and kind of continue trying to draw this inside shape. And you can see that there's an arcing corner right here where we're at, but we are going to actually fillet that arc. So I'm going to continue all the way up to here, draw over, and I'll just leave it right there. And I'll hit escape on my keyboard. Now I can trim this. So trim entities, I'm set to trim to closest. And then we can dimension this outside arc. And that is also 1.25, except this is the radius. Now, if it messes up this inside piece, that's fine. Just hit escape, and you might have to readjust some stuff. So you just click and hold on the dots and drag around. Okay, and it says that this bottom line here has a distance of 2, so dimension that to 2. It'll really mess things up. It'll shrink it. And then it says from your origin all the way over to the center of this circle is 4.75. Okay. Now I'm going to hit escape and I'm going to fix a bunch of this before I try to do anything else. Okay. So before I play with this circle with the arcs over here, I'm going to try to get everything in place first. So it says that this small vertical line is 0.5. And it says from here to that small vertical line, 0.75. Okay. And then the next measurement is kind of hard to describe. So if you see where the center of the circle is, there's an extension line over, and it says 0.5, and the other extension line goes all the way to this line. Okay, so that means from this line to the center of that circle is 0.5 up. Now, before you do that, you want to hit escape and make sure your circle itself is above that line. If it's below, then it's going to dimension it below. So drag it up above, and now let's try to do that. So we'll hit that line and the center of the circle, and that is going to be 0.5. Okay. Now from here, we can try to draw those arcs in. Okay, so we are going to be using a 3-point arc. You can't actually use a tangent arc because you don't have an endpoint with this circle. So a 3-point arc, and you'll simply click on that line, click on the circle, and just kind of drag it up somewhere here. Do that again over here. Okay, and hit escape. So that was the 3-point arc. Now, both of these arcs that we just drew have center points, and they're kind of just floating in here somewhere. If you look close at the picture shows that the center point for this inside one, it says it's 1.5. There is no measurement for that outside one, which I'll explain, but the radius is 1.5, and the center point itself falls on the line of that extension line. So that says that that center point is actually coincident or horizontal with this line itself. It's straight across from that. Okay. So I'm going to select this arc so I can see where that center point is. Okay, so it's right there. So I'll click off. Now I'll click on that center line, hold in Shift, hold it, click on that horizontal line, and I'll hit Make Coincident, and it will lock it in. Okay. Now up here we want this to be tangent. That already is. If this is not tangent, you can select these two and make them tangent. Okay. And I can tell you that this line to down here is also going to be tangent. So we'll select there and the circle, and we'll make those tangent. So that will bring that thing down. Okay. Now we're going to trim this inside. Okay. Hit escape. And if you grab this dot, you can actually still drag that around, as you can see. Okay. So I'm going to dimension this circle, and that is going to be 0.5, and that's going to get that circle locked into place. Now we also know this arc is a radius of 1.5. So really what we need to do yet is fillet these corners and then fix this. So let's fillet the corners because that's an understanding thing. That's something that we already know how to do. So we'll just get the sketch fillet, and those are 0.25. And we'll just simply click on those two corners and hit the green check. So that's pretty easy. So the last thing that we need to do is this. Okay. Now it does not tell you exactly where this line ends up. And it doesn't also show you where the center point is. So what you kind of have to assume here is that this center point is actually locked into that center point. So we can simply just select both of these arcs and make them concentric so they share the same center. And you see it locks it in down here. And that is all we needed to do. Just make them share the same center. You don't even need to dimension this because everything else around it is fully defined. So it locks that one in as well. Now we can go to Features tab and Extrude. And it has a material thickness of 0.38. And since the Z is negative, that means we are going to be going backwards. So hit your change of direction. We're going to hit the green check. Change our material. This is 1060 alloy, so that is a default. And we can evaluate this. And you should get a mass of 0.27 pounds with a positive X, positive Y, and a negative Z. So if you got that, you are correct. You can save it and move on to the next one. If you didn't, please go back in the video, problem solve where you went wrong, and try your best to fix your problem.